Let's be clear, this isn't just about a social media app, it's about power. It's about who gets to shape the digital landscape of the future, and who gets left behind. We're witnessing a high-stakes negotiation that could define the next era of global competition, the forced sale of TikTok in the US. The outcome could shift the balance of influence between two of the world's biggest superpowers. This isn't a simple business deal, it's the front line of a digital Cold War. The stakes are higher than ever, with technology and information as the new battlegrounds. At the center is an app with over 1 billion users, most of them young and impressionable. Their habits, opinions, and even their worldviews are shaped by what they see on their screens every day. The real question: who controls the information they see? Who decides what trends, what's censored, and what goes viral? On one side, the US government sees TikTok as a Trojan horse, a potential tool for Chinese espionage. They worry about data, privacy, and the subtle power of influence. On the other, China views TikTok as a strategic national asset, a symbol of its rising global influence and technological prowess. Both sides are playing a careful, calculated game, each move watched by the world. Every decision could have ripple effects far beyond just one app. This is about more than viral videos. It's about who writes the rules for the digital world and who enforces them. The outcome will set a precedent for how nations handle technology, data, and influence in the years to come. This is a turning point in modern history, a moment that will be studied for decades as the world redefines digital sovereignty, and it affects everyone who uses the internet today, shaping the way we connect, communicate, and share ideas across borders. Why is Washington so worried? The answer goes far beyond simple politics or business competition. It comes down to national security, a concern that sits at the very heart of American interests. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a Beijing-based company subject to Chinese law, which could require it to share user data with the government. This legal obligation means that, if asked, ByteDance may have no choice but to comply. That means the Chinese Communist Party could, in theory, access the data of 150 million Americans, potentially including sensitive information about their habits, locations, and even personal messages. For US officials, this isn't just paranoia. It's a strategic risk, given China's history of cyber espionage and aggressive intelligence gathering. The fear: China could use TikTok to media, military personnel using smartphone, business executives on phones, concerned expressions track government employees, military personnel, or corporate leaders, gaining insights into American operations or even influencing key decision-makers. The US wants to sever TikTok's ties to its Chinese parent, creating a firewall to protect American data and ensure it stays out of foreign hands. But it's not just about data, it's about control over information, influence, and the digital spaces where Americans spend their time. The US worries China could use TikTok's algorithm to manipulate public opinion, spread propaganda, or even influence elections, subtly shaping the beliefs and choices of millions. The platform's power to shape what millions see is a potent weapon in the information age, capable of swaying minds and shifting narratives. If that weapon is in the hands of a rival, the implications are profound, impacting not just privacy, but the very fabric of democracy. This is a new front in the battle for hearts and minds, where influence is wielded through screens and algorithms. The US is determined not to lose it, taking bold steps to defend its digital sovereignty. The forced sale is seen as a necessary step to protect the country, even if it means upending a global tech giant. The stakes couldn't be higher, for national security, for democracy, and for the future of the digital world. Let's talk about the algorithm, the secret sauce that makes TikTok addictive. It learns your preferences and feeds you endless, tailored content. But it's not neutral. It can shape opinions and influence behavior. Who controls the code, and what are their intentions? The algorithm decides which videos go viral, which voices are amplified, and which are silenced. Experts warn it could be tweaked to favor pro-China narratives or suppress criticism. Over time, this could subtly alter users' perceptions, especially among young people still forming their worldviews. Imagine an election where the algorithm quietly promotes one candidate or spreads misinformation. The potential for interference is real. This isn't just about censorship, it's about the slow cultivation of a particular worldview. The invisible hand of the algorithm is a sophisticated tool of influence, and that's far more powerful than old-fashioned propaganda. Now let's see this from Beijing's perspective. For China, TikTok is a source of national pride and proof of its tech leadership. Surrendering control would be a public defeat. Beijing's strategy? Play both sides. publicly condemning US actions as protectionism while quietly updating export laws to keep the core algorithm in China. Even if ByteDance sells TikTok's US operations, the algorithm may stay in China. It's like selling the car, but keeping the engine. Any American buyer would face the daunting task of building a new recommendation engine from scratch. This move makes the sale less appealing and gives China leverage. It's part of the Great Digital Wall. China blocks US tech giants at home, but projects its own influence abroad. With TikTok, China has scaled its own wall and won't give up that power easily. The battle is about whether China can keep its grip on this tool of global influence. The stakes are enormous and the world is watching. Trade wars used to be about steel and soybeans. Now the real prize is control over information flows. We're in a digital trade war, where data and attention are the new commodities. Platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Google are the new gatekeepers of information. The country that controls these platforms shapes global narratives and gathers intelligence at scale. This isn't a war of tanks and missiles, but of algorithms and data. The US has long dominated this space, but China is now challenging that dominance. The TikTok battle is about who sets the rules for the digital world order. It's a fight for the commanding heights of the 21st century economy. The stakes are higher than any classic trade dispute. Who controls the flow of information controls the future. This is not just business, it's a battle for the digital age. In the 21st century, controlling digital platforms is like controlling a superpower's arsenal. Some experts compare this power to nuclear weapons, not in destruction, but in influence. Digital platforms can shape what billions think, making them tools of immense strategic value. Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok reach more people than any media in history. Controlling their algorithms means conducting global influence operations at scale. This is why both the US and China see TikTok as a vital interest. Unlike military power, digital influence is subtle and hard to detect. A small algorithm tweak can shift political narratives or sow division without anyone noticing. The person scrolling their feed may be the target of a psychological operation. This is the new great power competition, not just economic or military, but digital dominance. The country that controls the next generation of platforms will shape the 21st century. The TikTok battle is the first major skirmish in this conflict. The era of digital innocence is over. Welcome to digital realpolitik. The fight over TikTok is a symptom of a bigger trend, the fracturing of the global internet. The dream of a single open internet is fading. We're heading toward a splinternet, divided along national and ideological lines. There will be American, Chinese, and European internets, each with their own rules and platforms. China has long had its own firewalled internet. Russia is building its own too. Now the US is creating its own digital sphere, where only trusted companies can operate. The message: play by our rules or stay out. This fragmentation will stifle innovation, limit the flow of ideas, and confine people to digital bubbles. The global village is turning into digital fortresses. The US model champions openness. China's model is about state control. As these models clash, the internet itself is becoming a casualty. The TikTok battle is forcing countries to choose sides and shaping the digital world for decades to come. Why should you care? It's easy to scroll past headlines about tech battles, but this one is different. Because this battle shapes the information you see every day, what you read, what you watch, and even what you believe. It's about the digital world your children will inherit, the environment they'll grow up in, and the values they'll absorb. The outcome will set a precedent for how your data is treated, who can access it, and how much control you really have. It will determine who can influence you, your family, and your community, sometimes in ways you don't even notice. This isn't just a debate in Washington or Beijing, it's about control of your feed, your attention, and ultimately, your mind. If the US forces a sale, you might get a safer but more fragmented internet with new rules and new players. If China keeps control, concerns about data security and manipulation will only grow, fueling mistrust and uncertainty. This raises tough questions. How much privacy are we willing to give up for convenience, connection, or entertainment? Who should we trust with our data? Governments, corporations, or someone else entirely? There are no easy answers, and the stakes are higher than ever. But we can't be passive consumers anymore. Our choices matter, and our voices count. We must be informed, engaged digital citizens, ready to question, learn, and act. The TikTok battle reveals that our apps are not just tools. They're arenas of global competition, shaping culture and power. The future of the internet depends on the choices we make, both big and small, and the standards we demand from those who build and govern our digital spaces. The fight for a free, open, and secure digital world is the challenge of our time, a challenge we all share. And it involves every one of us, every day, every time we unlock our phones and step into the digital world.